Imran Ansari, he's a criminal defense attorney and former Brooklyn prosecutor. And Ali Bradley, she is NewsNation correspondent covering the southern border. She was in the courtroom and actually spoke to George Kelly outside of court. All right, so Ali, I want to start with you in terms of getting a sense of how people there are perceiving this. But first, I want to play a little piece of sound. This is you asking some questions to the defendant, George Allen Kelly, as he was going back in, this is number 7, for the defense's closing arguments.
I'm positive.
Okay.
I think we're going to have a good outcome. I have faith.
You have faith?
I have faith.
Leaning on God through all of this over the last 14 months?
Yes.
Okay.
Hard.
Hard. Tell me about that.
He's my rock.
Now, Ali, whenever I cover these high-profile trials, we end up sitting in the courtroom watching the testimony each and every day. A lot of the reporters start talking with each other, with members of the public, about how they see the case. What are most people down there saying? Because I think people here look at this case and they say, whoa, this is going to be a tough one, I think, for the prosecutors based on, the totality of the circumstances. But give us a sense of what people are saying down there.
Yeah, right now, Dan, it seems like a lot of people down here believe that he's innocent or will be acquitted in this case. They think that they will have a verdict as early as tomorrow as the jury is deliberating this right now. But a lot of people across my social media pages, when I share information about George Allen Kelly, the vast majority of them are saying that this is wrong, that he needs to be freed, that he shouldn't be going through this at all. So that's what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. But then, of course, you have the issues where we don't know, right? We have a lot of questions, and so does the public, because there is that issue right now. There was no bullet. There was no bullet ever recovered, which is a massive problem there. The state's key witness, he has criminal charges of drug smuggling, and he had discrepancies in his testimony that the defense really, really went after. So there are a lot of variables here and a lot of elements that can really be factored in here. And of course, with George Allen Kelly and those lesser charges being offered to the jury, it's an interesting piece too, because I talked with his co-counsel today, and she said that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter because they're not using the self-defense plea here at all, Dan. They're saying that he didn't shoot him at all, that the cartel was involved or maybe a rip crew was involved. So they're not saying, oh, he did or didn't shoot him on the defense side.
Let me play that
sound. They're
sound.
saying the cartel did.
You mentioned your interview with defense co-counsel Kathy Lothorpe. Let me play, this is number 6, a little bit, again, of Ali Bradley speaking to defense counsel.
We're saying he never shot him in the first place, so whether it's second degree or negligence or any of the alternatives, he still didn't shoot him. So therefore, it still has to be enough. Well, I would like to think that they hold the state to the burden and come to that conclusion right away. But it only takes one or two to kind of stir the conversation, make it take longer to get to that ultimate decision.
Imran Ansari, it seems like a tough case for prosecutors, but you think that they could win it?
So it is a tough case when you take the jury pool, the fact of that particular area and where those jurors are coming from, and that sort of heightened sense of where, migrants in that area. But when you analyze the evidence, Dan, I think it tells a different story. There are problems with the prosecution's case, but you have to look at the trajectory evidence. You have to look at the admission at trial or in the video, ultimately, that he admits that he fired his gun. And then there's a lack of explanation for the defense theory. There is no evidence as to any other shooters. You have a certain amount of people in a certain area. You have a trajectory evidence. You have a gunshot and someone who is killed. And I think the defense theory doesn't really hold up. The best bet they have is an acquittal based on just the various aspects. I think a political aspect in that region. But I think the prosecution does have sufficient evidence to convict.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.